Unmute. Okay, so let me just minimize that right here. Okay, so welcome to Anak IT second WDD session. For those viewers out there, I'm sure you can't make it, so we're starting our live broadcast here. So before we start, let me just say a short prayer to bless the session. So أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Okay, Alhamdulillah. So let's begin with the session by first allowing the existing participants here to actually connect to the local Wi-Fi, WDD auditorium. That's the password. For those viewers out there, you won't be able to see this. I'm going to blur it out. Now for the download, now you're going to need to download two things here. One is the setup, okay, the GitHub setup.exe, and the other one is the cheat sheet. So for this one, the setup, all you got to do is just click on this button and you can just download the setup. But for the cheat sheet, you're going to need to right click and then you're going to need to right click and then click save link as. Now for those at home, those who are watching this live broadcast, you can get the GitHub setup easily from github.com. Okay, just go to github.com, then just download. Okay, so well, you're gonna need to have to actually sign up for it first. So I already have my account here at github.com. Let me try and log out just to show you what it looks like. So this is github.com. While you're logged out, you can start logging in. So you're gonna sign up first. So you go to github.com and click on sign up. So when you sign up, it's the usual process: your username, your email address, password, then your plan, your dashboard. Now GitHub has a payment plan and a free plan. GitHub is completely free except for some of its extra features which you have to pay for. Yes. Yeah. Okay. The password is this one. No. It's all small letters. Right. So everyone connected. Then you start downloading these files. Now the GitHub, you sign up, blah 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 blah. You choose your plan, and then you can go to your dashboard. Now, just in case for those who didn't manage to actually download here, these existing participants, you go to this IP address 192.168.11.32. That is my IP address on this laptop, this machine, in which you can start downloading these two files. The first file is the github.exe, which you can download directly from the github.com, or you can get, yeah, basically that's it. Then for the Git command cheat sheet, you can get it from this URL, cheatography.com, Sam Collette cheat sheets /git. I'm going to put this in the YouTube description later, so those who are viewing this can get it. At the same time, I'm just going to put this on the chat, okay, on the Google Hangout chat, so everyone else who are participating can get it. So now for the cheat sheet that you're going to download Git command cheat sheet. If you right click and save link as, you are going to see something. You're going to see something like this. This Git cheat sheet. It has everything that you need for your commands. Of course, in your first time when you use it, you might forget something. So this is really handy and useful when you start using Git. So the first part is where you're going to start creating a new Git repo, okay, repository. This is Git init, then you have to Git add, and so on and so forth. And from other repository, you can just do a clone. Git clone this, Git clone that. So before I continue on, let's start off by understanding what a repo is. A repository. A repository is where you actually store files. Okay? Whatever folders, files you put inside a repo, this repository. This repository is stored somewhere into a different server. So looking at that, that's where you create your GitHub account, is to create your repo there at that server. So anyone else who wants to access those files can just use this Git, and they can just download from there. Okay, so that's enough on the theoretical part. Now let's start making something out of it. So those who've already signed up, please log in. Okay, so I'm just going to sign in here at GitHub. Okay, my username, my password, signing in, there. So this is the dashboard. Okay, so let me just show you around about how GitHub works. At the very top part is your search GitHub. So if you're looking for a specific open source project, you can just type it in. Let's say Fire, and there you go. So these are all the repos that is happening that's stored in GitHub on the GitHub server, and so on and so forth. If you don't know what you're looking for, you can just click on Explore. So if I go back to home by clicking on that OctoCat logo, I can click on Explore, and then I can go through all kinds of existing open source projects available on GitHub. So you can go and contribute to web games. You can work something made in Africa, icon fonts, open journalism, data visualization. These things basically are randomized. Maybe it changes from month to month. So you might see something like C# projects, JavaScript projects, and so on and so forth. Then you can see what are the trending repos this week. So far, you can see the first one is the research kit. The second part is the Laravel Lumen. Laravel is the CMS platform, which you can actually just start playing around with, and so on and so forth. So that's what Explore is. When you click on any of these, go to any of these projects. Let's say I'm going to go for this one, Repinar Free for Dev. Click on this and take a look at the project. So this is someone else's project, and you can go in and start contributing to it. So it says here, free for dev, developers and open source authors now have a massive amount of services, and so on and so forth. This is the project's README file, which basically is a norm for a lot of developers. If they want to share their files, their program, their app with another person, they can just put into README to explain what this is about, the introduction, how do you set up, and so on and so forth. So all this is been coded in Markdown with Markdown language. So table contents, a little bit of information, tools, and so on and so forth. So that's that for looking at the projects. GIS is something else. Blog is another thing. And if you're stuck with something, you can click on Help. Right. So that's how you do it for help. Okay. So this is if you're stuck with something, if your cheat sheet doesn't help, you can try and look it up on here on this GitHub help. Setting up on Git, creating a repo, you can fork a repo, and how to be social. So it's not just you working with a friend of yours here in Brunei. You can also work with someone abroad, like someone from US or from UK or someone so on and so forth. You can start being more social here on GitHub. Now let me go back. Okay. So I'm just gonna create a new one. Okay. Create new repository. You can do the same thing just by clicking on that plus sign and create a new repository. And when you do that, you're setting up an extra thing, an extra database server, file server in GitHub server. So here I'm just going to put in as Anak IT Git. Okay, and this repository name has to be unique. So if you happen to have yours as the same name as mine, it's okay because it's under your account. But if your account has two of these names, Anak IT Git and Anak IT Git again, it's going to say no, sorry, you can't use that. You have to use a different name. So let's say, for instance, I put in JavaScript. Fine, because I don't have a JavaScript repo. Okay, so I'm going to put it in here as Anak IT Git. Okay, so because today we're going to look at using Git. Then here you can put in a little bit of description. What is it about? I can just say this is for Anak IT Git session tutorial. Okay, so this is where I'm going to teach everyone how to use Anak IT Git. The next part is you can set it to public or private. When you put it to public, that means everyone can access it. Whatever files you put inside this GitHub, everyone else can access it. But if you put it into private, you can, and therefore nobody else can actually view your files. But when you do, you have to pay $7 per month just for using a just to make your repo private. Of course, you don't have to. You can always try and use a different uh, service as opposed to GitHub. That would be Bitbucket. Bitbucket.org. So aside from GitHub, you can use Bitbucket to actually host your repos. And this, instead of you paying for making it private, Bitbucket allows you to make a private repo for free. Okay, so whatever websites that you make, apps that you make, and you want to keep it private between you and your team, you can use Bitbucket, and you can do it for free. However, um, there is a limit, like 5 users. If you want more, you have to pay. So there's that downside. Moving on. So I'm going to set this to public so everyone else can clone from mine. Next, you can initialize this repository with a README. That means that it will start this repo with a README file, a standard template in which I can just use it. If I don't have it, if I have my own README file, I don't have to check this box. If I do want something like a template to be made for me, just check the checkbox and continue. Okay, so I'm just going to check that checkbox just to show you what the template looks like. Next, you can add the git ignore and the license. So git ignore is basically what are the files that you don't want the GitHub to actually take. So for instance, I'm working on a C# program, but I don't want any of my Android program inside my file, my folders, to actually be taken into GitHub. So basically, it's a way to ignore, don't take this, don't take that, don't take that. Okay. Right. So that's what git ignore is. Next is the add license, which of course, if you put a license in there, you will of course be legally protected. So if you want this to be shared, Creative Commons and all that, that's where you put this. That's where you use these licenses. At the moment, I'll just put it in here as Creative Commons 0. That means I can universally share this with everyone. Okay. If you have no idea how to use these licenses, you can click on this one. Need help picking a license? We've just built a site for you. Just by clicking on that, it will explain to you what each license does and which one is actually appropriate for your project. So once you're done, click on create a repo. Okay, click on create a repo, and then you have this one. Okay, this is a simple blank project. What you have is a license file and a README markdown file, and in here it's just that. Now I have that project, and inside my where's my documents and where's my GitHub? GitHub. All right. Yep. So these are all my GitHub projects, and I see here there's nothing with the name Anak IT-git. There is Anak IT v3 and Anak IT, but there's nothing else. So we need to clone this into Anak IT git. So first things first is you need to install your GitHub client first. So your GitHub client would look something like this. After you install it and you log into your GitHub client, it will look like a simple interface in which you can start communicating with the GitHub server. All right, still loading. So far so good. So any questions? No. How's everyone here? Not much. Okay. Okay. So the GitHub client. So this is what it looks like after you open it up and you log in. This is what you'll see. As you can see, I have mine loaded with different kinds of repos here and there. This is my personal repo, github.github.io. That's my personal website where you can see all about me and stuff like that. Uh, and none of these are actually of me, uh, of the Anak IT Git. So you're gonna have to add this, you have to add this repo, the Anak IT Git, to your computer. So what you're gonna do is you can clone in desktop or to download the zip. Okay, this is how you're gonna grab this project to your computer. So for those who wants to get this and start playing around with me, just go to this URL, github.com/koyum/anit-git, and then click on clone in desktop. This is the shortcut way to do it. The other way is to actually use this URL. Okay, so here there's this URL. Yeah, copying. Okay, so I've already copied the URL. So aside from just cloning, okay, clicking on this clone in desktop, it will actually launch this GitHub client and then clone the whole thing. I can use git shell. There. I have my program right there, git shell. Opening that up, I can then use that as to create my own commands on cloning URLs and stuff like that. So right now it's booting up on the git shell, and this and on this part you will need to actually start looking through this cheat sheet on how do you add a new project, how do you log, how do you remote, how do you change, how do you merge, how do you pull, how do you push, how do you commit, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I've already loaded up, and immediately on my Git shell, it already tells me that this is where all my repos are at. It's at my documents folder, and it's at my GitHub folder, and then over here is where all my GitHub project is. If I want to know which project I'm looking for, I just type in ls to get me a full list. And here's all my list of projects that I have in. I can then create a new directory, mkdir to create a new directory, and I'll just say Anak IT-git. Okay, so so it just made a new directory, Anak IT-git. Then I just need to change the directory by cd, change directory, cd, Anak IT-git. Once it's done, I can start cloning my my website into here, the repo to this folder. So GitHub and IT-git. So what I need to do is git, using the git command, git clone, and then paste in the clone URL by right-clicking, then paste. So there it is, git clone, and then the git URL. Enter. So it's cloning. Okay, cloning, and done. Well, obviously there's only 2 files in there. So let's take a look at what's inside. cd, ls, has another folder in there, cd, Anak IT-git. And there you go. So why do I have 2 of these? Anak IT-git and and then another Anak IT-git. It's because if I want to create a completely different version out of the first one, I can create another folder and then just create another clone in there. So at the moment, we're looking at the branch master, the origin master of this repo. So so I've already changed the directory to this one, the second folder of Anak IT-git. Now the next part is you can actually just look at the status. So git status, and git status, press enter, and you'll have this, a little status of what happens to your Git repo. Your branch is up to date with origin master. There's nothing to commit, and the directory is working cleanly. Good. Now let's start adding something in. Let's do this. Git add. Oh, sorry. There's supposed to be a command where you can actually just add in something. Right, you need to add a file first. So so now that we have this, I'll just add in a file here. I'll just take one file from any of these. Let's say tutorial. I'll take this image sand bucket and I'll put it in here. Anak IT get, and there. So inside my Anak IT Git folder, we have these two files, just like we saw in the repo, license and the README. And then I go ahead and paste my image in there. Uh, just for your info, you can put in anything you want in here, videos, audios, images, and so on and so forth. So sand bucket. So let's take a look at what happens here. If I do git status again, it says here, untracked files. Use git add the name of the file to include in what will be committed. So this one is in red, sandbucket.jpg. That's new. Why? Because this is how Git works. It actually looks at things at the files that requires pushing. Okay, if it's not going to be pushed, if it's not going to be pushed, uh, don't add it in. Okay, just put git remove. So here we have these two commands here. So here we have add change files. So the change files that we have here is the sandbucket.jpg. Then if you want to remove them, if you don't want that to be actually added into the push, uh, just use git rm then the name of the file. So here I can just go ahead and just do git add sandbucket.jpg. Okay, so typing in that git add sandbucket.jpg, press enter. There. Now the red line is now turned into green. That means it's already added to the stage. Now when I say stage, there are actually three stages here. One is the unstaged, the other is stage, and the last one is the repo. There are three areas that you need to look at. So if I were to draw a picture to make it easy for you to understand, so I'm going to draw three boxes. Okay, this one is the unstaging area. This one is the staging area. This one is the repository. Okay, so what this does is this. I'm just going to grab the circle as the image. Okay, so on the unstaging area, this is where we start working our files. Okay, whatever HTML, images, CSS, JavaScript, whatever files you put inside this folder, the NIT-Kit, whatever project folder you're working on, is stored here. Okay, and this is where it turns red. Any changes here, this will turn red. Once you do the git add command, it will move into the staging area. So just grab this. Okay, so I type in the command git add, then we'll move here, staging area. But it's still there. It's not. It doesn't actually move to the server. It's just right there. So the staging area on this part is where the owner of the repo gets to decide whether to take it or not. If you're the owner, you will commit. If you're not the owner, you'll just have to wait. You just add, but then the owner will decide whether to commit or not. Okay? So if you commit, then the staging area will move to repo. Is that clear? If you didn't commit, let's say you just add to the staging area. This is stored in GitHub. Okay, this whole thing is actually stored in GitHub. This whole thing is stored in GitHub. Okay, so GitHub. So, huh? Yep, unstaging area is still in your computer. This is in your computer. Yep, this is your machine, and then this is GitHub machine. Okay, so if you do the add to the staging area, it's stored at the GitHub's machine, but it will not store inside a repo because the owner of the repo does not decide it, does not accept that file yet. Is that clear? Okay, good. So let's say, for instance, that this repo is mine and you're committing your files to me. Okay, you say, oh, I want to change this one to look like it's blue, well, where mine was red. Then when you add, I look at the file, what has changed? You changed from my red to blue. Then I can then say, okay, commit this file into my repo, meaning I accept your change. Okay, so that's how that works. Unstaging, staging, then repo. Now let's move on. So let's git add. Okay, right now just git adding. That means it's already on the staging area. Next, you need to git commit. What git commit does is that you're only adding, you're just saying that you want to add it in for a reason. Let's say, for instance, I have changed the color to blue. Okay, so that could be your comment. So that's what this one does. Git git commit dash, then apostrophe, then your comment, then apostrophe. Oh, sorry, M. I forgot the M. So going in here, git commit dash M, and I have changed the color to blue. When that's done, the master becomes green. That means something has changed. So if we take a look at this GitHub, no, it doesn't actually work out. Hold on. There's my documents. Okay, GitHub. Then Anak IT Git. One more level. Okay. So I'll name this as Anak IT Git repo. There you go. So already added git attributes, git ignore, and so on and so forth. But then these are just unsynced changes. Let's take a look at what's new. These are the new ones. Git attributes and git ignore. But nothing. But the new file of the JPEG is not in there. So I can go ahead and publish this repo to the remote server. That's on this client side. But on this side, we need, of course, the client side is easy. Everything is just drag and drop and clicking a few buttons. But there are certain Git SVNs or something like that. They don't really use the clients, and it's actually slower if you use the clients. If you use the Git commands instead, it's actually faster. So here, I've made the Git commit, and it says here one file has changed, 0 insertions. When it says 0 insertions and deletions, it's actually referring to the code, but this is just a file, and we're just adding the file in, and it's this many bytes, 100644. So I go ahead and git push, and then the command that you need to use is git push -u origin master. Right? There, git push. You can use a git push to push into a remote branch, or you can git push to a master branch instead. Of course, you have to create new branches first, like here, git branch new, in order to actually create different versions of that application that you're working on. So I go ahead and git push -u origin master, and I press enter, and it starts uploading to the repo. Okay, counting objects for done. Yeah. Something else has happened. Git status As you can see, it's red. I want to see what else is new. Git add file for this folder. Okay, so there's another folder there, Anak IT-git for some reason. Let me take a look. Okay. Now there's multiple. Okay. Must have been when I created it. Let me just delete that. Okay, let me try that again. Clone. There it is. Anak IT-git. Clone this Anak IT-git. Put inside the documents. Put inside GitHub. Put inside my Anak IT-git. And then clone. There. So wherever I commented or push or committed is now here. As you can see, my comment is there. Okay, so I have changed the color to blue, and it shows that. Now, if I go to my website, go to the GitHub website, okay, and if I refresh this, there it is, sambucket.jpg. So if anyone were to clone this into the desktop, they'll also receive this and download it. And as you can see, only the comment I've written it only applies to this file. It does not apply to any other files. So if you change any of the extra other files, the comment that you wrote will affect all those other files. So let's take a look at the readme.md instead. So I'm going to open up the folder. Okay, and go to readme.md. You can use a regular notepad on this one. Okay, just open up Notepad or any other text editor that you have, and there it is, Anak IT-git. This is for Anak IT Git session tutorial. So whatever it is that you see here on the readme.md notepad will show up here. As you can see, it doesn't require a lot of coding. It's just simple hashtag Anak IT-git, and it will immediately add that horizontal line. Then just type in like usual. This is for Anak IT Git session tutorial, like that. You can add in more, like 2 hashtags here, and say contributors. And you can start saying who are the contributors for this session. So you can say you can put in an asterisk and say for you and the gang, like that. So I go. So I made this little change. Click on save. Take a look at the git status here. Git status. Here it is. Modified. Modified readme.md. Because I made a change here on the readme.md. Immediately, this one tells me that there is a change in this file. So what I need to do is git add to actually start moving this from this unstaging area to the staging area. Git add readme.md. Oh. Okay. Git status. Or you can just do git add all instead. Oh, sorry, 2 dashes. There. Git add all. So if you have multiple files, multiple images or codes in different files, and you, instead of typing in one by one, git add the name file, git add another name file, just put git add all, and then you have all of the change files added to the staging area. So right now, git status, right there, changes to be committed. Ta-da. So if you want to, if you don't want this to actually be added, let's say for instance you mistakenly add this one into your staging area, you can just git reset head, then the name of the file that you don't want to put in, readme.md. So unstage changes after reset. So that one has been pulled back. So not sure, just there. Okay, so git add all. Yeah, it's part of the command. Where's the head? Yeah, revert changes to new commit head. I don't know why it's called head. It's just that. Okay, so I've already added this to the staging area. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and get git commit. So when once I do git commit, press M. Then I put in a comment. Updated readme file. Okay, that's my comment. Updated readme file. Press enter. All right. So now it's already committed. Now I need to push. Git push -u origin master. Okay, so that's done. Okay, it's already been added and pushed. So let's take a look. So on this side, immediately it will show there are some changes. Anything in green means it's added. Anything in red means it's deleted. Okay, basically those two colors. Other than that, there's the white portion where it has not been touched. It has not been changed. So once that's done, okay, as you can see, there's plus plus of us. You know that these are insertions. These are new ones. Let's take a look at the website, github.com. So here's a README file. If I were to refresh, it is another header, and then we have the list for you and again. Right? And that's easy enough to actually just do on a README file. Now, if you were to work on multiple people on working on the same thing, creating um, website or web development or app development, you can use the same thing, but you have to actually assign who's going to do what. And if two people are working on the same file at the same time, and when they were to commit and push, the other person will have to decide, the owner of this repo. Let's say that this is me, this is my repo, and when you want to try to commit and push to me, I have to decide whether to merge your changes or not. Or I can push your commit to a branch instead. Because let's say, for instance, yours is good, and then the other person is also good. Your files are good, but functions may be different. The objective may be different. So I'm going to take one into my master branch and the other into another branch. So let's say you can have two different versions, right? Okay. So how's everyone? Huh? You want? Does everyone want to take a break? 10 minutes. Let's take a 10-minute break. Then we'll continue again for another 15 minutes for Git. Okay, so I'm just going to stop broadcast and then we'll come back. How do you stop?